to the Lee Michaels Show with Carol and your daily cast of characters, where we discuss the issues of the day, entertainment news, what's really going on in Washington and the world. Why don't we just hear it from the horse's mouth himself?
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. I don't think it's safe to be briefed on national security because the word will get out. I know at some point they're going to be calling, they're going to want to brief me, but I'm not a talker about this stuff. This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Of course, it turns out the Russians didn't need to hack Hillary's email server. They were able to hack Trump's mouth.
This is like Watergate, only it's worse.
The Lee Michaels Show on the Power of Voices Radio Network.
Welcome to the show. It's Monday. Yes, it is. Another beautiful day in the city. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Lee Michaels. This is the Lee Michaels Show. It's live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're a little bit late this morning. Had a few technical issues I had to work around and kind of put together a workaround around the normal way we do it. So you're seeing me from a little different angle, and the color and the lighting is a little different, but we're here, okay? Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. That's how you can catch us right here. Thank you so much for joining us today. The country is in turmoil, especially down in Texas, where many of our listeners and friends and family members are there going through the remaining effects of Harvey. Hurricane Harvey came aground at Hurricane 4 level, which is extremely intense, to say the least. And it's got tremendous impact on what's happening there in the state of Texas. Many of the people along the coastline are gravely affected by the rain, the wind, but most of the devastation is coming from the flooding, the amount of rain that they're receiving there, and still it's not over. And that's the scary part. It's just not over yet. Rain through Wednesday. And who knows, it may last a little longer because the storm is just kind of hovering over that part of Texas. Houston is being impacted from the rainfall in a major way. Rain like they've never seen it before. They're releasing the storage water into the Buffalo Bayou and some of the other streams and storage areas, which is causing local flooding. I've talked to a few friends down there this morning already, and we'll get some of them on the phone to give us a firsthand report in terms of what they're experiencing down there, and it's just devastating. And so far, the local government, the various cities and the state, and even some support from FEMA, the federal level of disaster support is all in play, and we'll see how it impacts the next few days. This storm is a horrific storm, probably more devastating, no less than Katrina. What was that, 10 years or better ago? Seems like just yesterday, but it's been a while. But be that as it may, our blessings and our prayers go out to the people in the state of Texas and Louisiana. Louisiana impacted some in the southwestern part of the state, but not nearly as bad as the state of Texas. In the southeastern part of the state, from Galveston, actually a little higher, the whole coastline of the state of Texas, all the way down to where it connects to Mexico, is greatly affected by the storm. Harvey, not Steve Harvey, but Harvey. And I know a bunch of you people out there say, yeah, Steve Harvey has something to do with this. No. But who knows? He might try to take credit for it. He's kind of like Donald Trump. He's one of Trump's buddies, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, today is Monday. It is the Lee Michaels Show. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. I can't seem to get the damn Periscope to work this morning. It's complaining about my user login, but we'll be there in just a few minutes. Also on our website at thepowerofvoices.com. Many people are listening there. They can't see us, but they're listening to us. So, what's been happening? Well, your president has found a way to try to fly under the radar to give the pardon to this racist ass former sheriff out there in the state of Arizona. I don't even want to call his name. He's so disgusting. And what he did to people of color and brown people. He was warned by the government not to discriminate. And what did he do? He did it anyway because he's arrogant, because he felt that he could get away with it. And to a certain degree, he did, but he got busted. And your president is saying, hey, man, good job, no problem. I'm going to give you a waiver. That's just not right, man. It's not right. But a brother can kneel during the national anthem at a stupid football game, and it's okay to prevent him from being able to work in the NFL. I was reading an article this morning, I posted it on my Facebook page, that Jim Brown says, hey, man, you know, it's okay to protest, but you cannot disrespect the national anthem. And he says, Colin is wrong for taking a kneel. Well, Mr. Brown, let me just say this. You've done some great things out in the community. I respect you for all that you've done. You're an incredible football player, but I cannot side with you on this one. This young man has done the same thing that you've done in your lifetime. Stand up for people who've been discriminated against. You went in and you helped stop some of the violence on the streets here in Los Angeles with the gangs and all of that. But when another person stands up for discrimination and the brutality that police officers have done against the people in the community, then that's wrong. I disagree with it. It's two different things, totally. And Brown, you need to sit down on this one, and you need to get on the right side of history. This young man exercised his right to free speech, and that's it. What are you shaking your head about? You disagree?
Yep.
Well, get on the orange mic there. Let's have a little discussion about this. Joining me on the show this morning is Josefa Salinas, the commander here at the Power Voices.
Well, I'm the host of the Community Review.
Yeah.
And I disagree. No, I don't disagree with his right to protest. I do disagree with him doing it on the NFL's dime. Jim Brown never stopped the middle of a news broadcast to voice his opinion on something.
But he could have.
But he didn't, because that would have been improper. That would have been improper for him to stop the middle of a news broadcast to voice a personal opinion about something. I think that Colin could have participated in protests. He could have held a press conference and voiced his opinion, all those things. But I'm not saying that he didn't have the right to do that. What I'm saying is that's the NFL's dime. You're being paid to be somewhere to work. He should have done that and done his protesting on his own time.
Well, I think he did that as well. You know,
but
when
he
spoke out.
He should have done that on his own time.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that one.
Sure.
And I think that, you know, in this day and time, young, educated people know the difference between right and wrong. And I applaud the young people that are standing up and voicing their opinion.
Oh yeah, I now believe me, I'm all for
Right.
voicing opinions
Mhm.
and making sure that your opinion. Remember, we're saying this: your opinion is heard.
Sure.
But I still do not think that he should have used that platform.
What? Okay, you said on his own time.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm gonna try to get a camera up here.
Oh, yeah, I don't have to be on camera. It's all right. My voice is the only thing that needs to be heard.
Oh.
You know.
But
And
that
I'm
was,
not saying that I mean, I don't disagree with him having that position and
Mhm.
that opinion. He isn't absolutely entitled to it. I just really believe that that was not the proper platform for using. All right, if you want to do that, then you buy television time
Mhm.
and pay for it out of your own dime and make your opinion heard to the world if you want to do that. To use the NFL's dime to voice your opinion, and I don't care who it is. I'm not just him. Any of those guys. Any of those guys.
Now
It's not right.
there's others that have not stood up for the national anthem. They were
Mhm.
not criticized or ostracized or kicked to the curb. There's
When
still
when
playing.
did that happen?
There's players right now. I'm trying to think of the guy's name, and he's on record publicly saying, "Hey, I just didn't stand up. He didn't do it."
Oh, recently been a few that have said that they're
No,
now taking that position.
No, I think this guy's been around for a long time, and he's never, been kicked to the curb because he didn't stand up for the national anthem. What about the guys that have been involved in other crimes, criminal, things, slapping women around, dog fighting, and they've had a chance to come back and have a job in the NFL? Is this worse what Kaepernick did
Uh,
than?
Is somebody forbidding him from working in the NFL?
Yeah, that nobody will hire him. He's jobless and
So
did a
that's
good
in-
job.
It's said out loud. We're not hiring him.
Yeah, not one team will give him a job. He cannot work in the
No,
NFL.
it's not that he can't work. No one's choosing to hire him.
The same thing. He's been blackballed.
I know a lot of players. I know someone personally who was blackballed for taking a stance. It was an improper stance
Hmm.
that he took. He should not have done it when he did, and it cost him for several years.
Yeah.
Because he used an improper time to make a personal statement. This was back in the 80s,
Right.
and
Well-
it cost him for a few years. I mean, he eventually got back to the NFL and played a few years, but it was never the same.
Do you think Kaepernick will have a second chance?
I think so.
Is he going to have to come out and say, I
No,
was wrong?
Absolutely not. No. Because
See-
his position isn't what's wrong.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that anything, in my opinion only, where he did it and how he did it was wrong. If you
Mhm.
wanted to make a national statement to everybody, then buy your own television time and do it. You used
Well, what
NFL time.
what guarantee would he have that if he did it on his own time? Would they still disagree with him and not allow him to play?
I don't think it would have happened that way. I think that a lot of people were angry that he used that venue to voice a personal opinion.
Well, I hope you're right on that. I'm not
I
certain
really do.
that it would pan out that way. I think that the outcome would probably be the same, because so many people tried to say that he was disrespecting the military, the flag, the United States of America, and all of that. And I think that was pushed over the top in terms of what the kind of statement he was trying
Well,
to.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but
He
see,
was trying to bring
he
attention
set,
to.
he set himself up for an opportunity for
Mm-hmm.
people who are extremists to take that moment and blow it up into a huge thing bigger than what it was.
Exactly.
Okay, unfortunately for him, he did it at a time in this country when sensitivity is at such a heightened level in the wrong direction and right direction that corporations aren't sure quite what position to take, so they take the road of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to stand by my position that I feel that he should not have used the NFL's time.
Mm-hmm.
He totally has the right to his opinion. He totally has the right to like any of us do. But no more than Jim Brown would get on an evening newscast in the middle of sports and start spewing his own personal opinions and making it his broadcast on CBS or NBC or ABC's time into his personal protest. He would get fired.
What about when entertainers come out on award shows or and voice their political or personal opinion about events that's going on.
An award show, if they get that microphone, that's their moment. That's their couple of minutes. Everybody gets that couple of minutes. Now, if they want to choose that couple of minutes, that's their time when they could be thanking people for an award to say something. Is it necessarily the right platform? A lot of times I don't think it is. But it is their couple of minutes. It is their couple of minutes that's been given to them.
I'm having a problem separating those couple of minutes that you just described, and I agree with that, and the knee on the field. He wasn't, being disruptive, physically or emotionally. He just took a knee.
Right.
And he said, this is my moment to say, or to exercise my First Amendment right.
Well, if he had been at the Hall of Fame and was getting an award and chose that moment to make his opinion known, that was his moment.
And what would
He was
prevent
at
them
work.
from saying, you're a bad boy, give me back that award?
Well, they probably wouldn't, but, who knows? In this day and time,
That's right.
who knows what would happen?
Exactly.
I mean, God, they gave, what's his name, in Arizona, a pardon.
Yeah.
So, in this
Yeah.
day and time, nothing surprises me
Yeah, I opened up
anymore.
the show with that
Yeah,
comment about the
Yeah,
president.
it just really, it's a very sad statement, having just come back from a trip abroad and being in 5 different countries and listening to the way people look at us and think of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're the laughing stock of the world.
Really.
No matter what position you're taking on any subject, the fact that one thing that we all have in common that you can't get away from, we're all Americans.
Yes.
So we're all here under this umbrella. And under this umbrella, we are being laughed at around the world. I was in Spain, Great Britain, France, Italy, Denmark, and they're looking at, literally people would come up to me and say, what is wrong with all of you over there? What are you doing? How can you
That
let
serious.
this happen?
Yeah.
They were like, how stupid does your president have to be before you guys do something? And I would just sit there and go, well, I said, we never would have believed that America would let this happen.
I agree.
That was the statement that kept getting repeated in many different languages. We can't believe that America would let this happen.
I can't either. I'm just, every day I wake up to hopefully read a headline that this clown has resigned and the entire administration has been deleted. Because, getting rid of him is one thing. But what if, follow along here with me a little bit. What if this investigation is going on, several investigations, and they all conclude that this election was tampered? Do you think we should just say, okay, start over, let's have a new election? If we're going to be the big guy running around the world teaching democracy and telling people
and overthrowing countries when they don't do it.
Exactly. We've been a party to all of that, but if we can't get it right at home, why should I, as a third world country, allow you to come in and show me how to do it?
Well, I think
your credibility.
That's what a lot of countries and some of these governments and other places are starting to say is, look at these idiots over there. Why should we even let them have anything to do with us? They look at how their countries run amok.
It is. It is amok.
It is a sad state of affairs where our country. If you had told me 5 years ago that this is where we would be right now, I would say no way, no way, no way would Americans allow that to happen.
During the process of during the campaign, we were all saying no way was this guy going to win. Who could see that? Only one poll predicted that he was going to win, and that was a heavy Republican-leaning poll that didn't really have that much credibility. Well, maybe they had the inside, eyeball on the outcome.
Well, there's no doubt that politically in this country, I think that both Democratic Party and Republican Party need some deep changes.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We need some deep changes in this country. But I think for too long, so many of us have sat back and said, well, it doesn't really affect me, so, I'm not going to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Or, my vote doesn't count, so I'm not going to vote. Or, that's Washington politics. It'll never hit me. Well, unfortunately, now the Washington politics that exists isn't just trickling down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tsunami.
It is. It is.
And it's hitting everybody in many different ways.
So what's the solution?
Oh, I don't know that I would have the solution. I think that sometimes you have to have incredible events to stimulate change.
Mhm.
I think that we are at a critical, incredible event with what's happening in this country right now, and I am hoping that what it will do is wake people up that you have to be involved,
Mhm.
that you can't sit by.
We have a midterm election coming up, November 6, 2018.
Next year.
Yeah,
A whole lot of people's butts on the line.
yeah.
And I think that it's our job as broadcasters, more so than to express our opinions, which are important,
Mhm.
but it's always been my position in my show that I've done for 20 years now, that I want to give people as much information as possible. And
I
I'm
think
trying to
that's-
get people to understand how important it is to hear all sides.
Yeah. Yeah, you
There
have
are
to.
Republican sides and opinions that are valid, that are very valid. There are Democrat opinions that are very valid. There are independent opinions that are very valid. So how do we combine those into the best future for this country?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of mono thinking, and we don't listen to the opposite side enough. I mean, I've been a Democrat all my life. I come from a family where my dad was a Republican, my mother was a Democrat. I remember sitting in the living room and watching my dad give high praise to Dwight Eisenhower. And that's a long time ago because my dad was military, Dwight was military, he became the president. He thought Dwight was a great president. My mother disagreed. And they used to have that house debate about
Mhm.
what was right or wrong. My mother used to work the polls. And so I come from that background, but at least I had the opportunity to hear 2 points of views. I chose to be a Democrat because the Democratic Party seemed to favor my needs more so than the Republicans. I think the Republicans right now have an opportunity if they would stop playing politics and really come closer to the center where most people live and do the right thing on behalf of the people in this country, they could come out on top as opposed to being viewed as that party's not for me by people of color, Latinos, Asians, African Americans, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know that they will because they're so deep embedded into this extremist right wing ideology. And the Democrats could come closer to the center and be a louder voice for all the people as well. There's extremists over in the Democratic Party, which I totally disagree with. I think the left side is less extreme than the Republicans, but they both have their wild ends. They both need to come to the center. And right now is a perfect time to be more united than ever before. We see a little bit of that from some of the congressional members on the Republican side. They're standing up. But those are, you can cherry pick those and identify who they are because they represent areas that are fairly
Multi-party districts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're kind of forced to be there, but be that as it may, they're at least doing the right thing, at least on the surface. Now, what they say when they're sitting around the dinner table, we don't know. But there's a Democrat from Arkansas who is saying when they come back into session, he's going to write a bill to impeach the president. Not a bill, but whatever that is. I think that will be a beginning. I don't think it's going to go. I think nothing shorter than the outcome of this investigation is going to get this guy out.
I'm not so sure that will.
I pray that the truth will come out. There's so many indicators. There's so much smoke. There's definitely fire. Okay, now in the news they're saying that during the campaign, he was negotiating to build a Trump Tower in Russia. See, it all keeps pointing back to Russia and all the ties, all the business deals. His son-in-law, $300 and some million loan from the Deutsche Bank.
I told you about that one
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah,
Remember?
exactly. So, I mean, there's just too many things. There's too many handshakes, too many relationships between this family and the Russians. And who knows, maybe China, what do you get, 10 uh, patents approved by China now?
That have been on the table for years and
10
years and
years
years,
or
and he
more.
couldn't get them passed.
Exactly.
But see, I think what's gonna have to happen in order for, again, this is my opinion,
Mhm.
for people to believe, his base,
Mhm.
to believe that there was something wrong with what he did. For some reason, people aren't afraid of Russia anymore, which baffles me.
That's scary.
Because
Yeah,
I remember a time when Russia was the opposition.
totally.
For some reason, they're not afraid of the possibility of Russia. And that worries me. And unless you can somehow show people that this is something really that's not a good idea.
Right,
You know, we're not skipping down the yellow brick road singing Kumbaya around a fire
right.
with the Russians.
We know the Russians tampered into the DNC servers and probably others. In recent reports, we know that there were 23 other states that were tampered with.
Right.
That in itself, how can we feel warm and fuzzy about a country that would do something like that?
Well, if the person who was running, who you back,
Yeah,
partnered with them to do that, then you're going along with that being okay. Again, because there isn't the same fear
hmm,
of Russia that there used to be. Now
That's
it's
right.
North Korea that we fear. So I think some reality has to be brought back into the picture. And again, as the media plays a large part in that,
hmm,
truly exposing some facts and figures about Russia and where their mindset truly is and how their people are treated.
hmm.
I mean, what's really going on in Russia? There's not affluence and
Yeah,
prosperity for all in Russia.
that's true. And a lot of the Russian mafia has moved here to the United States. And if you go to South Florida along the Atlantic Ocean where all the beautiful high-rise apartment buildings are, a lot of it is controlled by the Russian mafia now. And it used to be said that the Cubans owned South Florida in that area. Well, not so much anymore. And they're coming in here buying, during the housing downturn, they came in and bought $500,000, $1 million condos that were one times $2, $3, $4, $5 million. So they got in, and you talk about mean, nasty. They're just disrespectful, and it's a whole different vibe now in South Florida along the ocean because of that.
Well, I wish that the American people who are spending as much time with this Colin Kaepernick issue,
Hmm.
being, objecting to it or, voicing this, hatred of America because he did what he did. Now, he exercised his right. Did he do it in the wrong place? I think so. Does he have the right to do it? Yes. Does he have the right to do it on his own time, on his own dime? Absolutely.
Hmm. Well, probably he's still young in the NFL, so I don't know how much money he was making and whether or not he could afford that
I
kind of a
don't know. He's
platform.
certainly not in one of the top positions.
Exactly. He
You
had come in late into the season,
Mhm.
took over as a first-string quarterback, and did well. He was 5 yards from winning the Super Bowl. So he has value.
Well, the team did well, not
Well,
just him.
Well, but
The team.
as a result of him coming in as a quarterback, I think the last 5 games or so of the season, he was able to lead them to a victory. And he was 1 game away from winning the Super Bowl. I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was some other quarterback in that position, wouldn't they get the credit for doing a good job? So that's how I see that. He was in that leadership role.
Well, I think where I was going with the point is I wish that people would spend as much time
Hmm.
worrying and talking about Russia
Hmm.
and what that partnership, if there is a partnership going on, what does that partnership actually mean?
Hmm.
Let's focus some of this energy on statistics and information about the current state of Russia and what the implications could be of them actually being involved in anything in this country.
Yeah.
People have forgotten. People aren't afraid anymore of an invasion from somewhere else because we've never been invaded.
Right.
We've never been invaded. Nobody's ever come here.
Not in military
You
fashion.
know?
Yeah.
And I would love for someone to spend as much time informing the American people about how much China owns of the United States, how much Russia owns
Land-wise,
of the United States.
unbelievable amount.
People would be shocked that the universities and hospitals and research centers that are not owned by
Americans.
America
Yeah, you're right.
are owned. Who's on the board of the Treasury, of the Federal Reserve?
Yeah.
You know, start looking at this, people.
Follow the money.
Because when you actually wake up one day and turn around and China owns the university that your child is going, that you're paying tuition to and going to,
Yeah.
and you go, well, how did
Going
this
back to
happen?
China.
How did the Chinese? I mean, hypothetically only. This is a
Mhm.
hypothetical. How did the Chinese own UCLA?
How can
You know-
any foreign entity own 100% of our broadcast media? Well, they can now
Yeah,
under the new
these are
administration.
things we need to be worried about.
That's right.
These are things we need to sit around coffee tables and talk about.
Mhm.
What would be the reason that Russia would come here to do this? What are they after? It's certainly not a friendship with Trump.
Right.
He was just the easiest person to get it all by.
They found this guy who was an opportunist, who was a capitalist.
And fed into
And
what
fed
he
in-
desires most, and
exactly.
that's his own wealth.
They pimped
And
him
the
out.
wealth of he and his family,
That's right.
not the good of the country.
The United States people, our Treasury is paying for security for, what is it, 18 members of his family? The biggest family security protection of all time since the beginning of the United States of America. We've already run out of money for the Secret Service, and we're only, what, 6 months in, 8 months into the year?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, like I said, again, I think the media spends too much time. And yeah, are we all mad that he takes a vacation every weekend and goes to Mar-a-Lago, his resort,
Right.
where that, if you think about it, we're paying for his stay, we're paying for the Secret Service and their rooms and their food, which is actually money going into his pocket.
Exactly.
So not only is he getting to be president, but we're paying him to be our president.
Above and beyond the little 400,000 or whatever.
Oh
it
yeah,
is
way
now.
above and beyond.
Yeah, he evidently waived that, but hell, that's a weekend of income.
Right, at Mar-a-Lago. And he's done that every single weekend since he's been there
He was
almost.
charging the Secret Service $170,000 a month to stay at Trump Tower.
Yeah, I
Secret
mean,
Service says we can't afford that, so they put a trailer out in front of the.
yeah, I mean,
building.
that's ridiculous. How
It
do you
is.
charge? It's your, see, that's the kind of stuff, somebody start adding up all those numbers.
Yeah.
Come on, let's start seeing what's really going on here.
That's right.
Stop focusing on all this silliness
Right.
and start looking at the things that are actually going to affect this country and your lives and your children's lives
Yeah.
20 years from now.
That's
Who
my
thought we
biggest
would-
fear.
5 years ago, nobody thought we would be here.
No,
And here we are.
2.5 years.
Where are we
ago.
going to be in 5 more years?
Yeah. Digging out another hole.
Oh, it might not be a hole, it could be an abyss.
And I think he has a personal vendetta for whatever reason against Obama. When
Oh,
he
sure
did the
he
whole
does.
Bertha thing.
But he was
Yeah.
so embarrassed by being wrong about that. He's like,
Oh,
well, I got embarrassed in the whole world at being wrong about that. So let me just unravel every single thing that has his name attached to it.
That's right.
It's almost like it's a passion. What else can I unravel that he touched?
Exactly. The latest report is he has stopped the advertising budget for Obamacare.
Yeah.
And he says just let it implode. Well, he's
They
adding
don't have to advertise. We all know what it is.
Well, yeah,
it's not Obamacare. It is
the Affordable Health
the
Care.
Affordable Health Care Act.
Exactly. But he's
Obama
trying to
just
do
happened to
everything
be
he can
president.
to stop it. He's trying to do everything internally to kill it.
Of course.
By not advertising, they say already 300 to 500,000 people in the last enrollment didn't sign up because, the projected number that they said every time they advertise. So it's
Well,
already
here's
showing
a-
a downturn.
Here, I know some people that are on this,
Mhm.
and they got a letter in the mail that said, "Hey, it's time. It's going to be time here in a couple of months to, re-enroll for 2018.
Mhm.
So let's get ahead of it. And here's some things you need to do." A lot of people don't open up that mail.
Yeah.
They throw it away, and then they happen to see the commercial.
Yeah.
So start being more responsible. Let's start reminding the American public when you get that,
Yeah.
looks like it's just some, propaganda junk mail from the
Right.
people who are giving you your insurance. Open it up and read it.
Yeah. Better
Because
be
the
aware.
commercials aren't going to be there to remind you.
That's right.
But we can remind people. We can, as broadcasters,
Mhm.
every single day in the 30 to 60 days leading up to that renewal, remind people. Tell them to spread the word. Tell them to tell everybody else. We've got Twitter accounts. Some of you out there who are in the media have tens of thousands of followers.
That's right.
Remind people what those dates are. We
right.
don't need the commercial on the air. He can get rid of that budget all he wants. We have something better. We have the people's ear. And let's start using it for what it's supposed to be used for. Darn it, to help people.
He's also killing the subsidy that was going to the insurance company so they could discount the rates to the people.
You can't kill it immediately. You can kill it eventually.
Well,
you can't kill it immediately.
He's putting it in Texas right now.
It still has to pass.
I don't know. Does that have to go before Congress?
I think so. I don't think he can just, because if he could just wipe it out, he'd have done it already.
Well, he's doing it chip by chip. He's chipping away at it. So people understand, you know, and look at the timetable when he did the pardon on Friday, right when the storm was hitting the state of Texas. So the storm overshadowed that little move. Anytime the government releases something, or any major corporation on a Friday, many times it gets a little bit of action on that Friday, and then it dies down through the weekend. Come Monday, it's forgotten about.
Well, it's because that's why they do it that way.
Exactly.
It's done methodically.
No doubt, no doubt. So
that parents don't ground kids on Monday. Okay, they ground them on Friday. You don't ground your child on Monday. Why? They're going to school. No use.
Exactly.
So same thing. You
my
do,
daughter
do
is
things
still
like that.
My daughter Sarah is still being punished. I told her she couldn't go out until she's 46.
But I mean, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we all do things like that in our own way. So
Yeah.
understand exactly what he's doing. He does something like that on a Friday because it's not going to. There's the same teams,
Yeah.
not at television. It's
That's
not the
true.
same teams, not at radio. Not downplaying the weekend crew,
Right.
but there's not the same amount of editors. You know,
And they're hoping
executive
praise-
producers,
yeah.
all of that to really give it attention. And
That's
people
true.
don't watch the same way they do Monday through Friday.
That's right.
And they know this, so you sneak it in on a Friday afternoon, and by Monday, hopefully something happens over the weekend that
That's right.
is not going to get the attention.
That's right. So, you know, I talked a little bit about the disaster down in Texas.
The catastrophic, never before seen in American
Whew,
history
exactly.
catastrophe, that one, yeah.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some people doing little broadcasts on Facebook, how, you know, they're trying to get out of Houston, and every major road is flooded out.
Yeah,
The
you can't.
overpasses.
It's too late unless you have a boat.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
Nope, it's catastrophic. And I always tell people when your local officials say, get out of town, pack up and leave, do not stay, don't play that down. You know, just do it. And, you know, my daughter and her family packed up they got out on Friday, I believe it was, headed up to Dallas. They have some friends up there. So that worked out well for them.
Well,
The
there's
schools are closed all week now. Mhm.
Well, the airports, I think, are closed until Wednesday. At least.
Yeah, exactly. That's providing that the rain stops by then. I think it's supposed to go through Wednesday. Still
Right, well, I know it's
quite
geared back
right.
up to be considered a tropical
storm again. Yeah,
again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and now it's going up to the Virginia and South Carolinas.
yeah. Well,
Where
yeah,
the
they'll
rain
get a
is
lot of
headed,
rain
yep.
going towards the east,
Mhm.
northeast, like. So, you know, folks, don't play around with this situation. Pay attention. Listen to your local forecast, and don't say, "Oh, well, it's not going to hit here." Don't. You know, better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the things that you have to walk away from can be replaced. And it may not be a bad idea to have flood insurance, even if
Well,
you're
in
in
some of those areas, yeah.
yeah. You know, like here in California, a lot of people don't have earthquake insurance.
Well,
Is
I
it
don't.
mandatory now?
No, it's not
It's not
mandatory.
mandatory.
Well, they couldn't make it mandatory. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
That's why I don't. I mean, I don't have it. I wish I could have it,
Hmm.
but it's so expensive.
Yeah, it is.
You
Can
know,
be.
my house insurance is expensive.
Yeah.
To add another 7,000-8,000 a year
top of
onto
that.
that, I mean, come on, people can't afford it.
It's extremely expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we have a lot of issues to deal with, you know, right now, politically, personally, you know, local, statewide, federal. We just gotta, I think everyone has to engage at some level and do something about it.
I think the
And-
most important thing is you have to get involved on a local level.
Absolutely.
Because
Starts at
yeah,
home.
what's going on in Washington? I mean, some of the things that he's doing affects us, you know, all the way down. It's tsunamis down.
Sure.
But one thing is for sure: everything that happens locally affects you.
Exactly.
Your neighborhood council. Most people don't even know who their neighborhood council is. I don't even know how the people in my neighborhood got elected. Where did I vote on that? How did you get in office? I want to know because I've been there, so I want to know how you got in office because I think I might be able to do a pretty good job in my neighborhood.
Sure.
So who picked that? How did that, those are things you got to know. Who's on your neighborhood council? How did they get there? How long is their term and when is it up? And if you can do a better job, get in there because they make decisions about your neighborhood.
That's right.
And then your city council people. Who is your city council person?
Yeah.
Go to their office. If they're not there, really? Go downtown and find them.
Even in a condo association, you have people that make decisions about how and where you live.
Yeah.
You might go, well, who came up with that? Well, did you go to the meetings?
Right. Yeah.
Those people are voted on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't sit around and bitch and bellyache about stuff and allow it to happen. If you don't participate, then you got to live with it.
There's a lot of change that can happen locally. And trust me on this, your city council members, your assembly members, all of them, don't just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Find out what they're doing, and if you don't agree, then get there and exercise your 2-minute right to get up there and speak and say.
There you go. Well, I say November 6, 2018, I say that every day. Get out and vote. Let's make this a historic turnout for a midterm election. And if the representative, whether they're in the Senate or the House, are not doing a good job in your view, don't vote for them. Vote for whoever's running against them. And I'm going to make a major announcement. Josefa Salinas is running for the House of Representatives.
No, she is not. You're silly. I'm not running for the House of nothing but Josefa, okay?
Don't be selfish. Come on.
It's not about being selfish.
You got a big voice, and you have,
I'll
people
tell you
that
the same
respect
thing.
you.
I was at an event with a bunch of senators and congresswomen, and I looked at them and I said, "You do realize that I have more power than you do?" And they were like, they looked at me like, "Huh?
What you talking about, girl?"
Talking about? I said, "Because I have a microphone
every day,
and I don't have constituents.
Yeah.
I don't have to say the things
that
need to be said so that you can get reelected. Now, do I have to keep my job? Yeah, but if not, guess what? I can just pick up another microphone. And if that doesn't work, I can go online.
There were a lot of jobs in that room at that point.
Oh, yeah. Because the power lies actually in what we do as broadcasters. That's why I take the job so incredibly seriously.
You have to.
Yeah, I got a show where we do a lot of fun stuff and kid around. That's on the edge. Sure. That's where the fun stuff goes. But even that is, I feel a sense of responsibility with that. Even when we're having fun and joking around and talking about silly topics. But on my community review, to me, it is so important that I try to really just all around entertain, educate, stimulate, investigate, celebrate, or
engage the audience.
In whatever way that I can, because that's my responsibility. I feel it for me as a broadcaster.
Now, tell the listeners how they can hear your show and where they can hear it.
Oh, well, I've got the community reviews here on the Power of Voices. I'm thinking it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That sounds about
right. 1 or 2 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it is. Right. Look at me, I don't even know my own show airs. I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1. And then I'm also on 104.7 FM and several other stations within that cluster. Locally here in LA, it's 104.7 FM. I'm on 5 different FM stations the show runs, as well as hot923thebeat.com at 8 o'clock on Sunday mornings.
All right. So you can hear here, there, and everywhere.
Here, there, and around the world. Down the street and around the world.
Josefa Salinas, you've been in radio for what? Almost 30 years now.
Yeah, almost 30 years.
Yeah, it's coming up. Wow. Time marches on.
It
and
does.
Here in LA for 27
years.
27. Wow. We worked together up in San Francisco and then here in LA, and she came down to LA in the early 90s and just planted her feet and can't get her out of here.
K-Ace, the one year they played rap, then Power 106 until 98. And then I took a break for 3 years and then got the call. Mike Marino gave me a call and said, "Hey, we're starting this format at Hot 92.3, and we're going to do old school. You want to come over?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I'll come back to radio."
I'm in.
And went back for 14 years until they flipped it to hip hop, whatever. And then that's what made me start hot923thebeat.com.
Yeah.
Because I believe so much in the music of old school.
Absolutely.
And now 104.7 hit me up. We're like, hey, we're doing old school. You want to come over here? And I said, yeah, I can do weekends. I'm kind of busy during the week doing this, but I love it. I love radio. I love engaging with people. I love giving people the voice, power of voice.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's the biggest gift that we can give to the world. That's why I'm looking so hard to find funding to be able to, because right now we're kind of giving several $100,000 a year worth of radio away to people.
Yeah.
Except, and it's supposed to be, charged for radio, but eventually we'll get there to that point. But I also want to keep a certain segment of this available to anyone who wants to have a voice.
Sure.
And if I can find the funding,
Mm-hmm.
It will always be somewhere where whoever wants to have a voice will have a place.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a good thing, and I came aboard to be a part of this.
Oh gosh, I couldn't have
journey.
done it without you.
Well, you could.
No, I couldn't have. No, man, are you kidding?
You could have gotten 10 other people to do it. But
Oh, right. There you go. But yeah,
it would have taken 10 other people.
Well, for both of us,
Yeah,
we've both been wearing, 10 hats every day.
Ooh, you have no
But
idea.
it's such a joy
Yeah.
to hear and to watch people develop as radio personalities.
Yeah.
And, we got some great shows. Straight from the Streets is an amazing show. Jimmy's Politico,
Yeah.
incredible
show.
show. Jaime Rojas, who's a lobbyist,
Yeah.
and Stefan Nunez from NBC are on a show together and give an incredible perspective. We've got Full Body Frequency,
Mhm.
amazing show. What's Your Vibe? Tracy's show
Lynn
is
Cowan,
amazing.
yeah.
The comedy show, oh my gosh. Where in the world can you find live comedy talent,
Yeah.
up and comers and established comedians
Right.
live for an hour doing their thing?
That's right.
I mean, it's amazing. And that's what I love about the station is we have
Yeah.
some of everything. And that's what it's supposed to be. Then we're
Exactly.
going to start our veterans station where we'll have active 24 hours a day, 7 days a week programming for active military
That's right.
veterans and their families, bringing all kinds of information and voices of military from veterans, and just really something that hasn't been done.
That's true.
And then our Spanish Hispanic Talk Network that will start will be all talk in Spanish. I mean, there's so many things coming up,
Yeah.
and the Religious Net I'm going to start. Where all faiths will have a voice on this network.
That's right.
It's just so much. Come on, I need to win the lotto, Lord, so I can really do this.
I was about to ask you
You know?
before you got into this last piece, if you had won that 758 million or whatever it was, what would be the first thing that you would do?
Very first thing would have been to call all my friends and my family members and ask them what the most important things in their lives to be paid off were,
Mhm.
and I would have taken care of that.
Hmm.
And then I would have bought the biggest building I could find and have it all gutted and turned into these amazing radio stations with classrooms and stuff on the first few levels so that we could truly teach radio
Hmm.
and public speaking and all of those things that really aren't being taught, because
That's
I
true.
see the interns they're not being
Yeah.
taught,
No, not
and
at all.
to really teach that, because there's a segment of talk radio to me, and that's one of the reasons why I told you from the beginning when I said I wanted to do a talk station,
Mhm.
because I worked at iHeart and I saw the talk stations, and nothing against, Robin is a great program director, but it's a one vein, one lane,
Yeah,
one audience.
exactly.
And that's not who America is. America isn't one vein, one audience.
Right.
But talk radio for so many years has been a white male dominated field, listeners and hosts.
Right wing influence.
It was
Mhm.
time that other voices be heard.
True.
Stations like that are not going to do it.
Not at
So
all.
it's
You had
time
no
for,
chance to get on.
it is time for, because online radio has as much, if not more power, in my opinion, than an FM. An FM only reaches as far as the signal.
That's true.
An online radio signal goes around the world.
That's
And
true.
there's, when I laugh because I tell people all the time, wherever they can reach, I can reach.
No doubt.
So there
At a
is
fraction of the cost that they're spending.
nowadays,
Yeah.
and it's a matter of how professional do you want to do it, and I think we do it professionally. I know our music station I would hold us next to anybody's music station.
Hmm.
It's incredibly produced. It's incredibly, the production is amazing. Ron Shapiro is incredible.
Yeah.
Rick Noon, Renee Taylor, Wes Hall, Sean Andre, everybody. You know, these are seasoned radio professionals.
Yep.
We have live DJs, you know, all day long.
That's right.
And everybody there is a seasoned professional who loves radio, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You know?
They give with nothing in return of, you know, they're not making $100,000 a year and all
No.
that kind of stuff, you know, so they're doing it out of the pure love, and that's how I got into business. That's how you
Yep.
were inspired to get into the business, and that's what keeps us going.
Shoot, I worked
It's
the
that
first
passion.
3 years in radio without even getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know, so
started
how do I
at
get
minimum
paid at
wage.
this?
Yeah. I started at $1.60 an hour.
Yeah.
That was what I got. And I think the first paycheck might have been like $18 or something.
Yeah, I just
I
did-
kept that check. I don't know what I did with it over the years, all my moves, but
yeah,
I never
so,
never cashed it.
I don't know. It's definitely something that I feel real strong about.
Yeah,
And the power of voice.
yeah. That's what it's all
The
about.
power of voice.
Use your voice, be heard, exercise your First Amendment right, and find a platform that allows you to come from the heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Josefa
thanks for letting
Salinas.
me jump in here.
No
I
problem.
appreciate
That
it.
was totally unexpected. I saw
Yeah,
this
you
image
walking
walk
by.
by and I said, "Who is that?" Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you walked in.
Yeah.
You heard me talking about Colin
Yeah, and
Kaepernick.
I had to, you know, I just had to go. and say
Yeah,
something. Again, like I
whatever.
said, that's just my opinion,
Yeah.
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But
See, and the reason I wanted to talk about that today is I don't want the young people to feel like they're not being heard or seen. We have to keep them inspired and give them the courage to speak out.
mhm.
Yeah, because if they don't, then all that was done prior to their mere existence would be forgotten.
And again, I want to reiterate the fact that I do not disagree
Hmm.
with his position
Mhm.
or his right to say what he said. I'm glad that he has a position and was willing to make a statement. I just don't think that he should have done it on somebody else's dime.
Hmm.
If you wanted to make a national statement, buy yourself some television time and do it. Or get yourself on somebody's talk show like Bill Maher or anywhere like that who happen to have you on
Yeah.
and make your statement. I just think that any more than like when you mentioned Jim Brown, he wouldn't have, in my opinion, he would be wrong if in the middle of a news broadcast, all of a sudden he started spewing his personal opinions about something. Wrong place.
Yeah.
You know, it's somebody else's dime. It's the network's dime. You want to do that? Get on a talk show. Get on something. You know, so and when people in those positions
Mhm.
could have called a news conference, would have been invited on anybody's talk show to make that statement.
What if,
know?
and I'll let it go on this, what if 50 or 100 other players in the NFL had a news conference and said, hey, look, we stand next to Colin and we think that, you know, he should be reconsidered for a position in the NFL. Do you think that would have an impact?
I think.
Or do you think they should do that?
I think. Well, I don't know anybody. I can't tell somebody what they should do.
Well, is
That's a matter of personal opinion.
You-
That's a matter of personal opinion,
Of course.
what they believe. If that's how they would want to support their teammate or fellow colleague,
Right.
I think it would make a difference? I absolutely do. I think these corporations are afraid. They're so afraid right now of the American public turning their backs on them,
Hmm.
not watching the television.
Yeah.
They don't want anything politically charged.
Yeah.
You know, that's why now when little tiny things happen, guys are just like, you know, you're out of here, you're suspended. They don't play
Yeah.
that because when it comes right down to it, the only thing that the NFL considers is its pocketbook.
Yeah.
The only thing the owners want to know is money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They really, in my opinion, do not care about any of the players.
Yeah.
It's a bottom line image and money,
Yeah.
and they don't want it toyed with.
Hmm. Well, I
But
think
if
you're
there
right.
was enough support in that opposite direction for him, I think that they would feel a little more comfortable right now because everything so far, and the media didn't help now by blowing it up. The media helped make that a big deal.
Well, I think, you know, and I think it was right for media to cover it and make it a big deal because it was a positive statement to bring attention to the injustice with the police in many cases,
But again, I
doing
don't
bad
think
things.
well, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else.
Mhm.
I can say that I cannot disagree
Mhm.
with what he was saying or the position he was taking.
Mhm.
I disagree with the manner in which he did it.
Right.
He did it on the NFL's dime
Yeah.
during national broadcast. You want that national broadcast? Buy yourself some television time. Get on somebody's talk show where you're saying, I'm coming to say this.
I think the same results would be because so many people, look at the national anthem, and then it again blossomed into you're disrespecting the
Well, yeah,
military.
but again,
Yeah,
because the media helped hype that
yeah,
by saying, oh, he's disrespecting the military, he's disrespecting the flag,
Mhm.
he's disrespecting this, he's disrespecting that.
the veterans, et cetera, et cetera.
I
It's a
don't
bad
think I
situation.
don't think that was ever his intention.
Yeah.
Again, my impression of him as a young man, I don't believe that he meant disrespect or harm to the military, to veterans.
No, not at all.
That wasn't his
I think
point.
he's on record of saying that even.
Yeah,
That wasn't
and
his
I
point.
didn't take it that way,
No.
but I understand again that some people felt that was an inappropriate time, but the media helped fuel
Right.
that fire of, because of course, if you get a bunch of people mad that you're disrespecting veterans,
Mhm.
the military, in this time in this country,
Right.
it's real easy to get the anger going towards the guy then,
That's true.
when it was very far from, I believe, what his initial intention was.
Yeah, no question.
So, anyway,
Well, thank you for coming in.
well, it was
It's
my
always
pleasure.
a nice surprise to have you come on the Lee Michaels show and chop it up with me. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You should have seen her. I couldn't get a camera on her fast enough. She was even tearing up over here in part of the discussion. Little crybaby. Get
Well,
out of
no,
here.
because I feel really passionate about
Yeah.
people
I'm
being
just messing with
informed
you.
and being involved,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got Alfo standing by. Alfo is in Chicago on our line here. Alfo, come on in.
To you and good afternoon to everyone else.
Yeah.
I want to say this about Kaepernick.
Okay, go ahead.
When you have a NFL organization, a right-wing radio slant entity that would tell you he's against the military, he's against law enforcement, he's against America, and that same group will take taxpayer dollars to pay for their stadium while they continue to hide the injustices. Colin Kaepernick used the biggest and the cheapest form to express himself. Now, if you really want to get down to his own dime, he's taken his own dime and he's put it into the community
Yeah.
more and more. He's taken his own dime to vent his opinion, and this way was fiscally responsible. Now, who did he harm? No one. He is in a socialist public forum, which is their stadium that the public helped them buy, pay for it.
Yep. Put their name on
So
it.
why isn't this a suitable place for him to vent his frustrations with the lack of the rule of law?
Mhm.
When you see, you can talk about he should have done this, he should have done that. I'm glad he did it the way he did. If you waited for the NFL to take a stance, you'd still be waiting. As they continue to, what stadium was not built with taxpayer dollars? You see, it's okay for corporations to feed at the taxpayer trough, but then everybody else is supposed to be conformative and fall in line. You cannot put a price on freedom of expression. You can agree with him, you can disagree with him, but when you have a
Got him fired up, girl.
willfully dishonest, disingenuous campaign, that's like telling everybody in the world, because I want you to register your weapon, I'm going to take away your. It's a lie
Yeah. Yep.
What was a lie on his face was he was against the military. He was against the police. And oh, by the way, he was disrespecting the anthem that has left out an entire verse that is
Mm-hmm.
don't pick and choose what you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctification does not come with a get out of jail free card. Either you are,
Yep.
that should be the position of the people who support him, who agree with what he said, but disagree with how he said it.
Yeah.
He took the very best route, how he said it. He should have said it better, because that got him what? The most bang for his buck. In television, radio,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you
Do you think he will get an opportunity to come back to the NFL?
I saw a couple of there were a couple of stories out there that the Jaguars signed and Seattle signed blackballing him. It should be a concern with every black NFL player.
Hmm.
If you want to check your blackness at the door, then you should find a new occupation. Because your blackness will block the rest of your life. If you can't stand up to this or this,
Hmm.
falling for you,
Do you think that the NFL owners voted not to bring him back into the game was because they were fearful of, and many people have said this to me, of losing potential advertisers or people coming to see the games?
if you got Chick-fil-A in your bag and in Atlanta, chicken and they're not open on Sunday, what in the heck is going to happen? I mean, how is it that you can have that?
Yeah.
That is, you got Chick-fil-A, the ultimate anti-gay, anti-black, anti-Hispanic, anti-progressive corporation selling chicken out of your stadium, and you close on Sunday. NFL concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said a few weeks ago, they will repeal that rule they're doing on Sunday, because once they get in the habit of that's
Yep. Yep. The wink, wink, nod, nod, and everything will be. Yeah.
this is the, you know, this is the same thing that you have going on. Trump is lining himself up to pardon every
It's what?
That they can't hear you and that other people are commenting the same thing, they can't hear you.
Well, why not?
Is it on
Okay.
Facebook?
thumb his nose at it. I said, the damn thing that you Democrats, progressive,
She
They
said,
can hear me on Facebook?
she said the audio is glitching, going in and out.
It must be an internet thing. I mean, I'm looking at it now.
here is your message. You should be
Are you looking at your Facebook page?
legitimate,
She said dead air.
reasonable.
Okay, let me check.
Neo-Nazi.
Who's a neo-Nazi? NFL's neo-Nazis?
No.
Oh.
He's gone on to some other stuff now.
Not to keep that narrative, not to raise that narrative, and not to come before every microphone that's open. Force your way in front of a microphone. And when you don't get in front of a microphone, hold a news conference. Someone will show up. There will be cameras there. It will be played. But to call this man illegitimate, cross-check is going to prove that out. If you think Russia simply tiptoed around the edges of destroying our democracy, think again. They are still in it for the end game to destroy our democracy. And you have someone who was basically co-opted 10, 12 years ago when they started lending him the money that American banks would no longer lend him because he left them high and dry. Do you know why he won't leave them high and dry? They'll plutonium his ass. And if you think, really, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You don't stick the Russian mob like that. The Russian mob money is flowing directly through Donald Trump. He is a money laundering. They're going to get him on the RICO Act. They're going to get them all. But whether or not he'll be able to pardon all is something else. Now, he can pardon them. Say he pardons Flynn and Kushner, Donnie Jr. Say he pardons all of them. You bring them in front of Congress and the FBI, in front of a grand jury to testify. And if they take the fifth, they can't take the fifth any longer. They took the pardon, so they admitted their guilt. And if they lie or take the fifth, you prosecute them for perjury and contempt. You see, Lee, when you have this type of treason, and this is treason, Judge Arpaio is a classic, I'm with the racists, I'm with the bigots, I'm a neo-Nazi alt-right appeaser. And that's what they should refer to him as.
Yeah.
You see, Obama's not born in America was an unknown. It was a vicious lie. What progressives have on their side is the truth. It just hasn't come to fruition. But does that mean you can't say it? Does that mean you can't have movies about it?
Yeah.
This is what Republicans don't fail at, because this is how they message. They traffic in innuendo. They traffic in hypotheticals. And when you traffic in that, you can say anything. But not Democrats. They're too afraid of the pushback. They're too afraid of not just the pushback, but the pushback and the turning, the circular firing squad from other progressives who see what this man has done, see what he's about, but they still want to take that, dare I call it, snowflake attitude. Let's just wait on the investigation, and then maybe we can say something. Then, by then, they've thrown up all of their talking points, and they've gotten the perception from their base.
Okay, so
did you see Roger Stone say that there would be a revolt, there would be a revolution if they tried to impeach him? That is a full out, and he threatened some of the elected officials. They should have went and got him. They should have, despite whatever lawyer make them carry it to the Supreme Court. Make them carry it to the Supreme Court. Don't just let them get out of it because their lawyer said. You could be wrong as two left shoes. Make him carry it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And next time he'll think twice before he says something so outrageously false, so easily debunked. Joe Arpaio got arrested. He got convicted for doing his job. How about that for a half-assed lie? How about that for misinforming the public?
Yeah. What do you think okay, we know that in November of next year, November 6, 2018, there's going to be a midterm election. We know, or we understand, that right now the Democrats are upside down, looking kind of wounded.
Why?
Well, let me you tell me why in a second. And they are saying that the DNC's donations is down. Is that because Democrats have lost faith in the Democratic Party? And
No.
can the Democratic Party recover? Is it possible?
The Democratic Party can more than recover. Here is your narrative. The Democratic Party is rudderless. They have no leaders. Well, I see a bunch of leaders. You know who looks more and more like a better leader? What was the boy's name that was running for president? Mallory? Was that his Malloy? What was his name from Baltimore?
Mallory. The governor?
Mallory. Governor.
Yeah.
He looks more and more like a reasonable person. Now you have the Cory Bookers, but black people will rise up against Cory Booker because he stood in the way of prescription refill reform.
Mm-hmm.
He's the same one who came to riding to the rescue of Mitt Romney and the vulture capitalists when he says nauseating to question wealth is nauseating. You see, he exposed himself as a Wall Street Democrat. And if they were so upset with that, Cory Booker is basically a tainted candidate.
Mm.
You have what's the girl's name in California? Kamala Harris?
Yes.
Now, I'd vote for her. I'd buy her groceries and I'd drink her bath for her. But that's just me going off rails a little bit here.
Just a little
Andy.
bit, yeah.
Andy, the Kingfish say, the Kingfish, there are leaders in the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Bernie Sanders will be how old?
100.
Or okay, Joe Biden will be how old? I don't give a damn. They're older and they're better than what we have. You see, all of this, no, Hillary took money for speeches to Wall Street. So goddamn what?
Yeah.
They all take money for speeches. But you had so many entities.
But there's nothing illegal about taking money for a speech.
Okay, but it don't have to be illegal.
But
it
should be illegal for tampering with an election. It should be illegal taking money from a foreign entity that is not an ally to us. And it should be illegal for your family members not to claim on the various federal forms that you have to, the disclaimer forms, lie about it. Oops, I forgot 75 other entries. All of that should be illegal. When he was calling Hillary a crook, who was really the crook?
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Admit nothing, deny everything, and accuse everyone of what you're guilty of. And that was his campaign in a nutshell.
Exactly.
And when you get right down to it, the media, the conservative media, you remember the boy from CBS saying, it might not be right, but it's good for ratings. He should have been tarred and feathered and run out of town.
Mm-hmm.
The democracy by which we have lived all of this time, and as a black man, it's been a tainted, vile democracy. But that's what we had. That's what we basically rode with.
Well, let me go back and ask you the question this way. What can we, as the people, do to bring about the change necessary to bring this country back to a level playing field, get rid of the hate? And maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just too optimistic.
You're not going to get rid of the hate.
Yeah.
And this is why you're not going to get rid of the hate. The hate started with Ronald Reagan. And if it's been going on this long, I say, let's hate some more. Let's continue the hate. You simply turn into the fight. And you point out you remember, now they want aid. They want aid for Texas, for Houston, for a red state. Well, what about the Sandy hurricane people when they were saying, well, we don't want them spending this money on nothing else. We're going to vote no. Every Democrat should vote no. and filibuster the hell out of it. But do you know why they won't do it? Because Republicans will call them out and say it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I getting feedback, Lee?
Yeah, I turned it back down. I just want to make sure.
Oh, okay.
Now, let me ask you a different question. Have you read the article about NFL legend Jim Brown on Kaepernick? I posted it on my Facebook page.
I didn't read the entire article, but for what he said, I'm like this. Where's go get the real Jim Brown, mother? You know? Go get
This
the real
fake Jim Brown. Speak it out.
Take off that leather coat and put your damn dashiki back on.
Right.
In your old age, you have basically lost, or your black card is withered and fell out of your wallet.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick used the very route, the very train, the vehicle he should have used to lodge his disapproval with the way America's Justice Department institutes for law. I mean, law and justice. Did you see where the chief of police in Oklahoma also sponsored a neo-Nazi Klan website? This is the chief of police in this Oklahoma county. I'll send it to you when I come across. I think I saved it, but I'll send it to you. Matter of fact, it may be on my wall on Facebook.
Okay.
But Lee, how many instances, how many chances, how many times do we have to see stories about policemen and their emails and the bigotry?
Mm-hmm.
How many? Yeah, it's on the wall. It's on Raw Story. It's on my wall and it's on Raw Story. Busted Oklahoma police chief outed as owner of racist website and white supremacist record label. So we're not talking about somebody who's dipping and dabbing. We're not talking about someone who hasn't got any money. And if that were the case, I wouldn't be surprised to see him kneel down at a police roll call and display his hood.
You know, and I've said it before. People in organizations that we fear the most haven't gone away. The Klan and the neo-Nazis and skinheads and all the other racist groups out there. They don't wear the hoods anymore. They've got a different hairstyle. They look different, but the mindset, the ideology is still the same. They haven't gone anywhere. They're just they've melted into society in a different way now. You know, they're in the police department, they're in the Justice Department, they're in our schools.
Right.
But
Lee, that was 2006. The FBI study warned that the Klan had infiltrated government at the highest levels: police, judges, politicians, prosecutors. So why isn't the Klan declared a terrorist organization? No one in the world has terrorized more than the Klan, more than neo-Nazis. And when you talk about similarities to groups like ISIS, it's the Klan. You know, Al-Qaeda and all of the other, Boko Haram and all, you can go right back to the Klan. This is terror at its finest. And that's what we are. That's what you have. But progressives, Democrats, liberals are afraid to turn into the fight. You turn into the fight by using the truth. And the truth is, they colluded with Russia. That is a fact. Donald Trump Jr.'s emails state that. And the eighth man, you remember the eighth man that nobody could identify?
Yeah.
Well, now he's identified, and we know who he is. We know all about him now. So why is this not colluding, evidence of collusion? Why is this not full-blown treason?
It is.
Donald Trump, he's been under their thumb for over a decade to do their bidding. That's why he's been orally pleasuring Putin.
Well, I just hope they hurry up and finish this investigation.
No, it ain't no hurry up to this. Because, and when I say it's no hurry up to this. The financial trail lengthens this by a year.
I think at least a year. He
will
may
get
serve the
them-
majority, if not all, of his first term.
Exactly.
Before
And he
we
won't run
see
again.
it.
That's going to be the thumb in everybody's eye. He ain't going to run again.
Well, he's campaigning
Because by
now.
that time, I don't care. He's campaigning because he's got nothing else.
Yeah.
The campaigning keeps his face alive. The campaigning keeps his rubes rubed.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the stupid people. Put them all together. Get a whole build. The latest thing in Arizona, you couldn't put all them people together and get a full set of teeth.
Yeah.
The hell. When you get right down to it, you must turn into the fight and push back. Every time I'm going to Missouri. I won big there. Oh, such a shame. He's like a little child.
He is. Worse
He's
than.
like a little kid.
I have granddaughters that are hipper than he is. He is so. The only thing that's transparent about this guy is we know who he is now. A lot of people don't want to accept, or it's not possible that he is something other than what we see and hear and what we've seen and heard for the last few years. He is who he displays. That's who he is. Don't think that, well, he's really a nice guy and he doesn't mean anything that he's saying and it's all theater. No, it's not. That's who he is. We need to accept that.
And if you'll quit talking about, I'm not going to pay for the wall, just quit saying it. Someone in his administration has the biggest woody on for him, because to release that and his conversation with the Australian Prime Minister, his tough negotiation is when he can't get it his way, he walks. So he threatened, I'm not going to come there. I'm not going to come to Mexico. Well, then don't come, mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
that's
agree
what you're
with you.
dealing with.
I agree with you.
But I'm so
100%.
sick and tired of the impudent, wimpy progressives who always turn around and that circular firing squad. If you have the truth, there should be nothing wrong with plotting head on. Keep it moving. Take them down on their talking points, on their lies. You see the Hispanic boy they paraded out to defend the Aparo pardon?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, geez. First in the conversation with CNN, he was 75, who has devoted his life and given to his country. What? Then, of course, but he's not 75, he's 85. He's only got 6 months to do. Why Donald Trump would spend that type of capital simply.
That's his boy. They agree.
But
they have the same mindset.
It's simply
simple.
It simply says that this clown has no clue as to what the hell he's doing. That's what
he
was
owed
supposed to keep
something to him also, because this guy.
He owed what?
He was one of the first to step out there in support of this racist president that we have. Like mine.
No, he wasn't one of the first. You know who was? You know who was the first? Melania.
Well,
when she didn't say
outside of the family.
When she didn't say, "I'm leaving you, Donald." When she didn't say that,
she ain't gonna do that.
Hey, well,
nope.
Come on.
Nope. No matter how this thing ends up, she wins because
don't make me get vulgar.
Listen,
you know the difference between a gold digger and a hoe? Come on. Come on.
Well, I understand where you're going, but she's not going to walk away. She's not going to turn her back on him. She's going to weather the storm, good, bad, or indifferent, no matter how this thing turns out. She wins because during this process that she's going through right now, he's earning more money. His estate will be worth more whenever he walks out of that door, unless they confiscate all of the new money.
unless
she
loses
has a
it
bigger pot
in a,
to live off
in a
of.
RICO Act. But anyway, I'll give you the punchline. She'll hold it in her mouth till the swelling go down. Okay.
Alfo, you're brutal today. You are brutal.
I hope that was clean. I hope that was clean enough.
No, that was clean enough, but you're brutal. You're brutal. You're killing them.
And it makes look, Lee, it makes no sense. More Democrats, this Adam Schiff who's on the board and all of that.
Right.
If you can have a Republican head of that board, that same investigation council, whatever the hell it is,
Right.
that you're sitting on, if you can have the head of that go to the White House to get kill the investigation report,
Right.
you can have an Adam Schiff come out and call this man illegitimate. John Lewis was the first to call him illegitimate. Maxine Waters says impeach him, and she won't say illegitimate, although I think she has. But
Well, do you think they're
should
just
not?
laying back waiting for the investigation outcome?
You don't lay back and wait on perception to be formed. You don't wait back and allow someone else
Well,
to
I think they're all
mold that clay.
I
And then-
understand what you're saying, but I think they don't want to damage whatever credibility they have by being
How do you
too far
damage
out
your
on front.
credibility
Well,
with the truth?
but
How do you damage credibility with the truth?
because
They
there's
colluded-
always pushback and an argument against what somebody can claim at this point, because what solid smoking gun can they point to other than what it looks like?
You can point to the solid smoking gun of the Donald Jr. emails. You can
That's
point to
enough
the
for me.
solid.
It's enough
Okay,
for
but
me.
that's okay. So, if there's a singe of smoke there,
Mhm.
you can't ride that along with the fact that they met to ease sanctions.
Mhm.
Flynn and Manafort were talking about easing sanctions when they had no position in government, when they were basically violating what act is that? I want to say the Nolan Act, but it's not called Nolan Act. It's an act that if you are a U.S. citizen, you cannot collaborate with a foreign government to undermine a sitting president, and that's what
Right.
they've done. Republicans have been traitors since Reagan and the hostage,
Right.
hold the hostages until I'm elected. Since Nixon, don't negotiate with these boys. When I'm elected president, I'll give you a better deal. When he could have saved over 25,000 American lives. And on at every step, at every turn, Republicans have been traitors, let alone the Civil War. Well, now they want to say, it was the Democrats, knowing damn well they switched parties. Lee, after a while, people of my ilk get tired of saying it. I just ain't tired of saying it yet.
He did this announcement on the sheriff on Friday. The hurricane hit on Friday. Several other things went down on Friday. Why is it that you think that he thinks it's okay to do what he's doing?
Because he knows there's no pushback. And when I say there's no pushback, every Democrat should have been pre-scheduled to have a conversation with it on these talk shows as pundits, to call him the president of racism, the appeaser of the alt-right and neo-Nazis. Every single Democrat should have been trying. That's how you shape and form perception. And you'll have the truth on your side. Go back as far as the 5 black juveniles in the park accused of rape that he wanted the death sentence for. And even after DNA exonerated him, he wouldn't accept that. The federal government's racism suit that they lost, that they've settled. His father being arrested at a Klan meeting when the Klan was at its height. Tell me he's not a racist, and I'll tell you you're full of you-know-what.
Well, as the old saying goes, the apples don't fall far from the tree. His daddy was racist. He's racist. They did racist things as property owners and property management there in the state of New York and probably New Jersey as well. And he's done the same thing throughout his life. He has had thousands of lawsuits, civil lawsuits against him, and he just beats the hell out of people in court because most of the people need the money that he owes them. There's so many things about this guy's character that is so illegal, un-American, not presidential, and I'd be damned if I can't figure out how he's bamboozled his way into the seat. Other than
because no one will hold the media's feet to the fire for basically enabling him. When you have all of those things that you just named, and yet he can come before a camera and say that what's the boy, the FBI director that he fired?
Not Mueller. His name escapes me, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. But when he can put his credibility up against his, after all we've seen
Comey.
from him, Comey, and the media buys into that. See, the media has bought into Democrats have no leader, they have no message. Democrats have no. They have a message. They have a get rid of cross-check. Get the people back on the voting rolls that should have been on the voting rolls. He won by 77,000 votes in 4 swing states. And in each state, they purged over 100,000 people. In Michigan and in Flint, they purged 500,000.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, it was 200 million. In Michigan, it was 200,000.
Yeah, not millions.
And 327,000 in Wisconsin. He had ballots that they didn't recount, and you also had they indicted someone. That was another story, Lee. Mm-hmm. They indicted was this in Alabama, where he was switching the votes to Trump, but this was the Republican primary. So if they're willing to steal in the Republican primary, what the hell do you think they're going to do in a regular election against a liberal?
The crooked Hillary.
Yeah, the crooked Hillary. And see, Hillary stood around and just took it.
Yeah. I think that, no question, I believe that she took the softball approach to doing things, and I think she should have hit him back harder. There were times when she did, but I think there were some missed opportunities there that she could have taken advantage and fought him back.
Just like she didn't want to seem anti-black and she took the soft approach to Obama, and she lost, and that taught her nothing.
Well, Alphonse, hold your thought there for a second. I'm going to take a quick break and come right back, and we'll wrap up the show here and finish up some points. You're listening to The Lee Michaels Show on thepowerofvoices.com, live on Facebook and YouTube today. We'll be right back.
Taking you down the street and around the world. We are thepowerofvoices.com.
I am done with my mattress. That's right. I'm not spending another night on this old bag. My new mattress comes today, and this thing is out of here. Bye-bye, mattress.
Yep. Bye-bye, mattress. So says you and about 1,000 other people every day. And that's a lot of old mattresses with no place to go. There's the landfill, of course, where they just take up space. But what a waste. Because you could send it to a mattress recycler, where old mattresses get broken down into steel, foam, wood, and fiber that become new steel, carpet padding, home insulation, garden mulch, biomass fuel, locomotive oil filters, and all kinds of other great stuff. So bye-bye mattress is right. But don't toss it. Recycle it. It's easy, and it's free. To find a mattress recycler in your area, visit buyebuymattress.com.
I'm a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs.
Wi-Fi everywhere.
More playgrounds. Oh, more ice cream trucks.
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing brings a bigger smile to my face than cooking up a big meal for the whole family and lots of friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in our country who struggle with hunger. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids. But they can't do it without your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You asked for it, and we listened. Welcome to thepowerofvoices.com.
And we're back. Lee Michaels Show is in progress. We are live from 10 a.m. to noon, Monday through Thursday, here on thepowerofvoices.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and being with us today. Also, as a part of our cast of characters, we have Alpha on the line with us today. We're back, Alpha. Alpha, what's your thought about how things are going down in Florida, not Florida, but state of Texas with the hurricane and all the rain that's going on down there? Do you have any family members in Texas? Hello, Alvo. I guess he's not back yet. But I want to talk a little bit about that. If we have some people in Texas that are listening, we'd love to hear from you today. You can call in at 424-227-9461. That's 424-227-9461. I'll put that up on the screen, and you can see it, the phone number on Facebook and YouTube. Put that up right now so you can see that, 424-227-9461. Boom. Make that smaller so you can zoom in on it and put that up in the area where you can view it easily. That's a call-in number right above the monitor there, 424-227-9461. 424-227-9461. If you're in Louisiana or Texas or in an area that's affected by the hurricane and all the rain that has come down and continue to come down in many of the areas, we'd love to hear from you. Alpha, are you back?
Yes, I'm back, Lee.
All right.
You had a very good idea when you said, let me break to go piss. I said, that's not a bad idea.
I didn't say that.
That's what I read, Lee.
No. I had to actually go open the door for someone because the front door was locked.
Stay behind the locked door, Lee. You never know.
Well, you better be safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Your past may be hunting you.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I'm trying to get some other stuff up here. Okay, cool. The flood that's going on down there in Florida and Louisiana is the worst flooding of all time, they're saying.
Rain, baby, rain.
Yes, it's pretty bad.
Climate deniers. Climate deniers. It's just too bad that people who believe in climate change have to be caught up in that. You've got senators, all of them.
It's a climate change issue, and
look. Let's go to the origin. Let's go to the origin. The temperature in the Gulf is 86 plus.
Yep.
It's the warmest that it's ever been. And you're going to ask me, do you think
Oh, Captain Obvious. Let's see here. Warm water. It's feeding the hurricane. It came ashore as a Cat 4. Came on as a Category 4. And now it's stopped? It just stops and it's going to sit there and just piss on you? Give me a break.
Well, I mean, that's happened before. That's not, it's not a regular occurrence, but it has happened where storms will come in and just hover over for a period of time.
Yeah, well, say that after this 50 inches I'm about to give you, okay? I know some people take that bad. Some people take that the wrong way, but
that's okay. They'll get over it. They'll feel the pain sooner or later. But I'm on the serious note. I say to the people there in Texas and Louisiana, our prayers are out to you, and we hope that things work out, and that you can get out of this situation. But more importantly, make sure that you are being safe. Don't take any more chances. If the flood waters are still rising, find shelter. Call out for help. Don't sit there and wait for it to come up to your nostrils before you call for help. Get out of there now. My family, my daughter and her children, and my ex-wife and other friends that live in Houston went up to Dallas on Friday. So they were smart in doing so. I was watching Jay Dulé, who was a radio guy. He was on Facebook this morning in his car, and him and his daughter got up out of there. But they had to go through a lot of hoops to get out because there's so many roadways, interstates, and what have you was flooded. And it's pretty devastating and scare the heck out of you.
Well, break out before you get bum rushed.
Yeah, I hear that.
And see, a lot of people, I saw a couple of couples, and I'm ashamed to say they were black. They were going to ride out the storm.
Yeah. When they tell me that it's going to be catastrophic flooding, horrific winds, all of that. Now, there's nothing else to say but get the hell up out of there. Category 4 is nothing to play with. It's serious. I mean, do you need a Category 5 to scare the piss out of you and make you get up and get the hell out of there? Really?
They even have the news people, the young people on the low end, standing out in that stuff, and that's just ridiculous. Hey, you're gonna broadcast. You're gonna have a on-ground field. Go your ass and stand in the ocean. Tread water in the damn ocean. Make it. I mean, let's get real about it. You don't put nobody's life in danger with come on.
Well, I just hope that loss of life is at a bare minimum. I've only heard of one person that they've found thus far, but many times you don't find the deceased until the water has gone away.
Yeah, but let the water go down, wait a week, and start sniffing around.
Yeah, well, the dogs will find it for sure. Yeah.
Dogs?
Yeah, well, that stench will come out, no doubt.
Well, Lee, I don't want to come off as unsympathetic, without empathy. But I'll say this. You are down there with climate deniers. And you can deny until the cows come home. The state of Texas was burning up before. And now it's being flooded out. Yes, it's Mother Nature. It's a hurricane, Category 4. But it built to that strength because of the warm waters in the Gulf.
Yeah, and it's that time of the year.
And I don't understand that because that water still got a lot of oil in it. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
It's like taking a hot oil bath right now, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And where do you get off? Where do you stop this merry-go-round of allowing the narrative that both sides are responsible, both sides do it, both sides this, both sides that. When you have people of the Falwell Jr. and Pat Robertson and you have all of those, and you have the selective coons that follow Donald Trump like Pastor Burns and oh God, at some point, if you are doing it for the dollar, you should be wearing that, on a neon sign on your forehead. But don't use two fingers to give me an anal exam and tell me that it's a second opinion. Come on.
Stop it. You're right, Alpha. I mean, it's clear that we've got that issue to deal with, plain and simple.
Well, if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong, and I'll.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
Saying it.
I don't think you're wrong.
I'll keep saying it because I don't think I'm wrong. I think this is a war, and it's a war of ideology. It's a war about who can get and turn perception. And Republicans turned perception when they got rewarded for obstructing the Democratic agenda for 8 years. Harry Reid, Barack Obama, just Mr. Nice Guy, just Mr. Oh, they're going to be our friends. They're going to be.
All right, leave Obama alone. Now, come on.
I'm going to leave him alone.
He's been catching hell forever now.
He will catch hell for the rest of his life. And his shortcomings right now, he should be dog stomping on Trump. You see, because the fiscal year doesn't end until September 30th. September 30th.
Yeah.
The Trump era doesn't begin until October. But he's out there lauding the Obama economy. He's out there saying that, look at I've created 1 million jobs already.
But that was already in place before he got into office.
Yeah, but
that
who
growth
said
was not going to stop.
Who says that? Who says that?
It's just.
And if you have Trump,
and the stock market was still growing when the president, when Obama left the office.
But according to Trump, he inherited a mess.
No, that's bullshit.
Oh, I've inherited a mess. Okay, but see, someone should be saying that.
Yeah.
Someone should be in front of a camera.
I agree with you.
He's tweeting.
I agree 100%.
They should be saying that.
The Democrats are sitting down, being soft, and fighting on other fronts when they're giving this clown no pushback. And it's
they're
time
not fighting on any front.
Well,
Democrats aren't fighting on any front. This head of the DNC, Perez, I know some kids that'll fight better than that.
Yeah.
I know some kids who will throw stank better than Perez does.
Well,
is he better than what we had? Sure. But then what we had wasn't too great.
Well, it's no question that the Democrats need to have a closed-door meeting and do a reconstruction, a redesign of their approach, their methodology, their plan needs to change. And they need to get tougher. I mean, they're doing some nice things and they've blocked some stuff. And, with the help of a handful of Republicans, if it was not for those, middle ground Republicans coming on board, we'd be in a much deeper situation than we're in now.
Let me put it like this. You say they should all get behind a closed door. Somebody throw a goddamn chair. Get your point. Throw a chair. And if they don't know they're in a fight, throw another one. You can't continue to softball and pay. You can't bring what do they call them, a dictionary or a thesaurus to a goddamn knife gunfight.
Yeah,
and that's
true.
what Democrats have done.
So we've become too politically correct, too soft, too everything, but not hard enough in the pushback. We've taken the high road versus taking the middle ground road, but more importantly, face your enemy and knock his punk ass out, like Mayweather did the other night.
Come on. I didn't think you would go there, Lee, but you're absolutely right. I said it wouldn't go the distance. That boy couldn't go 12 rounds because he is not physically in shape. And I'm going to tell you, you get him in an octagon, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
Mayweather don't last a round.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Because the boy he is a beast. He is a beast.
And you saw him slipping into, the kickboxing stuff by grabbing him and hitting him behind his head and all of that. They should have thrown his ass out over that. He had no choice. Yeah.
He had no choice. That N-word was whooping his ass, his Irish ass. And that's what he was worried about.
He had a big old chin out there with that beard on there. You couldn't miss that sucker,
Well, he could have had half a chin. Floyd wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah, I see you. I hear you. All right, buddy. Well, listen, comes to the end of the show. I thank you for coming in today to be a part of the cast of characters on the Lee Michaels Show. And
where's Carol and that other and fake Carol and?
I think all of them must be having a menage a trois with Chris. Because you notice that they're all not here today. What's up with that?
I gotta go. I'm not gonna be a part of this. I gotta go. See ya.
See ya. All right. We'll see you tomorrow when it's No Trump Tuesday. We're not going to mention his name. We're not going to talk about what he's doing. We're going to ignore the fool in the White House. Tomorrow we'll talk about probably things that are going on down in Houston and around the world, and some positive things, and we're just going to ignore boo-boo the fool tomorrow. No Trump Tuesday on the Lee Michaels Show. ThePowerOfVoices.com, YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. We'll talk to you then. Have a wonderful day. Be kind. Show some love.